Hi, it's Lon Welsh at Your Castle Real Estate, and I want to talk about the Denver real estate market's performance in the second quarter of this year and kind of how that compared to the same time period last year. So here's 5 key metrics that really help you assess the health of the market. So the first is the average sales price, and you can see in the second quarter of this year versus last year, there's no change in the prices. Over the last 50 years, Denver's had about a 6.5% average increase, so this is quite a bit of a slowdown from what we've typically had. I was excited to see this number though, with all of the confusion of the pandemic and all of the negativity in the media. For us just to kind of keep flat, I think is really a great win. No decline in prices. The next stat is MOI, or months of inventory, and that's a metric of supply and demand. The way you figure it out is, if you take a look at how many homes the buyers purchased in the last year and compare that to the number of active listings at the end of the second quarter, how many months would it take to sell every single one of those listings? And currently for homes, it's about 1 month, and for condos, about 2 months. So it's very much a strong seller's market. There's too many buyers, there's not enough homes and condos to choose from, so the buyers really have to compete, and the seller, as a result, really has the upper hand in the negotiation. Now, if you compare that to where we were at this time last year, you can see that we've gone from 2 months of inventory on homes to 1. It's become a much stronger seller's market. Not as much of an increase on the condo side, but it is still an increase there where it's more seller friendly than it was. How could that be when we've had all these people lose their jobs? There's all this negativity in the media. I think the biggest driver is the inventory has shrank quite a bit because a lot of people don't want strangers walking through their homes during this time of COVID. Since the inventory has diminished quite a bit, but the number of buyers hasn't changed much, that's just led to a lot more competition. So it wouldn't surprise me if you saw the sales prices next quarter drift up a little bit just because of all of that competition. So the number that are under contract, we talked about showing traffic in an earlier video. So if you find that interesting, there's a short video with a link, you can go take a look at that. Showing traffic rebounded very well after all the COVID restrictions. Not surprisingly, you can see the number of under contracts has also rebounded strongly. So for homes, we went from 4,600 this time last year to 5,700 this year. One of the best numbers that we've seen probably in the past decade on that metric. And you can see also a similar very healthy growth in the mid 20% range on the number of condos under contract. So it's a really easy prediction for us to say that the number that will close in July and August will be quite a lot more than it was this time last year. Probably not sufficient to make up for the loss of sales that we had in April and May, but it'll be enough to make a pretty good dent in it. Which leads us to the number sold. Not surprisingly, if you can't show homes, it's hard to sell them. So in the second quarter, the number of homes sold was off 20% from last year. Condos were off 24%. You're going to make up a lot of that in the third quarter, maybe make up a little bit in the fourth quarter. We'll probably be down 5-8% for the entire year. So it won't be as bad as a lot of people thought. It's really not as bad as I thought it was going to be if you would have asked me like in the middle of March when it was all doom and gloom all the time. And last but not least, the driver of all of this is the compression in inventory. You can see we have almost 2,000 fewer homes now to choose from than we did last year. 40% decline almost on the home side, and the number of condos is down a little bit as well. So until we get an increase in inventory, it's going to be a strong seller's market. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge for the buyers to find stuff. A lot of momentum in the market right now.